I copied this Chinese Masterwork twice, first using pastel oil pencils, then with gouache. Each medium taught me something different about composition, and I'll be sharing that with you today. Welcome back, everyone. And if this is the first time you are here, hi, I'm beamybeam. I create sketches, paintings, and miniatures in Singapore. So I welcome you to join me in my video today. I recently bought a mini thermal printer to print black and white copies of Master's works, focusing on their basic tonal values. It's a very simple setup, a very mini set, and it really helps me to study and copy the works more closely. Why do I want to do this? I believe that every artwork, whether it is modern or ancient, it carries a piece of the artist's soul within it. By repainting and reinterpreting their compositions, I feel like I am slightly able to trace their thoughts faintly, step by step. So I feel like it's nice to do this to connect to the artist's spirit creatively through my own hands. For this Chinese painting, I decided to copy the composition using my oil pastel pencil. And because I do not know traditional Chinese ink painting, I focused on studying the tonal values by creating a simple black and white version instead. That's why I choose to use oil pastel pencils for this piece. Honestly, I really enjoy experimenting with different mediums during my creative time, not just sticking to one medium all the time. So it's always fun and interesting to see how each different kind of medium creates a different kind of effect and outcome, even when used on the same composition. This curiosity keeps me motivated to complete each mini project effectively, and at the same time, it helps me improve and grow my skills across different mediums. At this point, I've already drawn the basic outlines of the mountains and cliffs. The most effective way to show depth between different planes in a drawing is through the use of shadows. The darker the shadows, the sharper the edge or corner of the cliff appears. It is fascinating to see how a flat piece of paper can suddenly take on dimensions. How simple 2D lines can suddenly just turn into 3D forms through shading. Shadows can also help to create the illusion of distance. The further the object is, the lighter its shadows become, and the closer it is, the darker and more defined they appear. Do you also copy master paintings? I feel that ancient artworks have survived through time because they work visually. By copying them often, I will be able to develop a sense of their proportions, the kind of rhythm they use, and the spacing. These things will just comes to me the next time when I go for plein air painting outdoors. It will become much easier for me to spot the right angle or composition that already feels naturally balanced. I found this Chinese painting on a public domain website that features many ancient artists' works for study and reference. This piece was painted by a Chinese artist, Liu Yu, who was born during the Qing dynasty, and it dates back to 1678. It is quite amazing to know that the original scroll measures about 27 cm by 366 cm in length. So the height is actually quite near to a piece of A4 paper, less 2 cm plus. So Liu Yu, he combined dry linear brushwork with expressive landscape forms and traditional brush idioms. The scroll shows familiar scenes of human life within nature, depicted in a very dramatic and poetic way. At this point, I'm starting my second copy of the painting using gouache. I decided to crop the left side of the Chinese scroll so that it fits nicely into my portrait size postcard. For this second copy, I'm really excited to explore what colors can go into a traditional Chinese painting that originally doesn't have much color. I'll be sticking to my basic 5-color palette. It helps me stay more harmonized in my color choices. Do you also do your color mixing yourself? I used to buy boxes and boxes of acrylics, watercolors, and Chinese inks, usually sets of 12 or 24 colors. But I soon realized that some of my artworks turned out to be too vibrant. The colors didn't seem to speak to one another. That's when I realized that, for example, red color. Not all the reds are the same. Some reds are warm reds, while some other reds are cool reds. When warm and cool pigments are placed side by side in a painting, for example, they will tend to clash. The colors will clash, and this is the time when color disharmony will happen. So I find that using a simple 5-color palette feels much safer and easier to control for myself personally. It helps me create a more balanced, harmonized painting where every color will be able to blend nicely with each other. If you'd like me to show an example of how I mix and build a new set of colors using the basic 5-color approach, let me know in the comments below. I can record a video to show you how I create a fresh color chart from scratch using a new set of paints. Since we are talking about limited colors and palettes, I've also been curious about how ancient artists work with their colors. What surprised me most is that their restraint wasn't just technical, it was philosophical, spiritual, and deeply connected to nature and material. In ancient times, pigments were harvested, ground, and mixed by hand manually. Artists, they didn't have endless tubes of paints like we do today. Every color came directly from the earth. Each hue and color carried the trace of its origin, a kind of quiet respect for the natural world that shaped their art. For example, ochre color, the reds and the yellows used in the ancient times, came from iron-rich clay. Carbon black was made from soot or burnt bones. White pigments were ground from shells, chalk, or lead, while the most beautiful greens and blues came from very rare and precious stones. Each color carried a story of its origin, so every choice was not just being aesthetic but also symbolic, rooted in the earth and its spirit and the culture at that time. In China, painters of the Song and the Yuan dynasty often only just used the ink and water, believing that the true artistry lay in the movement of the brush, and it's not in the color itself actually. So their philosophy was that the 5 colors are within the black ink, that simplicity could hold the deepest ever beauty. By this time, I've already completed the basic foreground colors of the cliffs, mountains, and sky. That's my very first layer. Now I'm going to start adding in the shadows. I'm using the thermal print of the Chinese ink painting as a reference, and it really helps me see where the darker tones should go. So I'll be adding those shadow areas into my gouache painting accordingly. This painting actually has three layers. The first one is the base layer. That's where all the background color goes to. The second layer is for the shadows. And now I'm working on the third and final layer, which is the most foreground. Like for example, the roofs of the houses, some more bushes in front of the cliff that I'm painting now, and even for the trees that I'll be putting in at a much later stage. So I'm always excited when it comes to this stage because it shows that I am going to finish the painting soon. And the next thing that follows will be rest time for me. With all the excitement I had at the beginning, to want to see how oil pastel and gouache could each be very different from the traditional Chinese ink painting, that energy really has already faded off much at this stage. Now I am at a point of adding the final details. And these are the ones that truly will bring out the whole piece together. Details are super important, like the trees that I'm painting in now. Else it will just always be the background and no foreground. So it is these parts that keeps me going to the end. The thermal print helps a lot, showing me where those details goes on. And I even took a nice lunch break before taking this final leap towards finishing the painting. Painting really does takes a whole lot of patience and maybe a few snack breaks along the way. As the final details are painted in, this gouache piece is almost complete. I added a few final touches with my white gel pen, tracing some of the line work of the trees and maybe even berries, just like in the original Chinese ink painting. And with that, we have come to the end of this video. Thank you so much for joining me on this little painting reinterpretation journey. I hope it inspires or helps you in some way. If you have ever tried something similar, let me know please. I'd love to hear about your experience in the comments below. And I'll be sharing more art related videos every week. So if you'd like to see more updates regularly from me, you can consider to subscribe to my channel. Alright, that's all for today. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.